Okay, guys, this is business strategy. We've actually already covered these units before, but we're just doing a video and recapping with these questions. So we're doing P1. P1 says apply appropriate frameworks. Applying appropriate frameworks, analyze the impact and influence of the macro environment on a given organization and its strategies. Okay?
Yeah.
So we have to actually apply different frameworks. We have to obviously use an organization of your own choice. It can be anything like Apple, Toyota, Tesco's. I would say use something that you're already familiar with and you've done some research on to make it easier for yourself. Okay? And we're saying, what are some of the frameworks in relation to the macro environment? Now let's be clear on this. What are we talking about first in terms of the macro environment? What do we mean by the macro environment?
It's a pestle.
You're right, it is pesto, but what do we... So the macro environment is everything outside the company. So we're not talking about the task environment. The task environment is internal. The task environment is very similar to Porter's five-force model. But the task environment includes competitors, suppliers, customers, regulation, and partnerships. But then inside the company, you've got obviously what's happening internally in the company itself, the strengths and weaknesses to the company, SWOT analysis, internal to the business itself. And then outside the business itself, you've got the task environment. The task environment and the internal to the business is still internal. It's not the macro environment. Okay? See the difference between the two? Okay, you've got the task environment and strengths and weaknesses of the company, both internal to the business. Whereas the macro environment is outside all of that.
Yeah.
So, understanding that is important first.
Yep.
So we're going to use some frameworks. One framework, Amy, you said PESTEL, excellent. PESTEL stands for political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. Good, excellent. And then, again, don't go into too much detail in PESTEL. Briefly, in one paragraph, explain what this is, okay? But then we have to apply it. So let's take a company. Should we just take Tesco's to make it easy? Because we did Tesco's before. And we're going to apply PESTEL. So we look at the political environment in the UK with Tesco's. What's happened, please? Brexit. How has that influenced? How is that, because the question says the impact it's had. How is that, political side, Brexit, has an impact on Tesco's, please? So we know that the pound has devalued,
Devaluation of the pound.
which has meant what?
The price
Raising the cost of the
Cost of products from Europe coming into the UK has increased, which means how has that affected Tesco's bottom line? Reduced their profits, yes? Okay. So we can see, do you see how we're taking one example, we're relating it, and we're saying the effect it's had on Tesco's in terms of its good because of the devaluation of the pound, because of Brexit. What are some of the other things? What about the social economic factors? What's been happening in the UK with people's wages? Have people's wages been increasing?
No.
No. So people's wages haven't been increasing. Have prices been increasing?
Yeah.
Yeah. The rate of inflation is actually higher than the rate of pay.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to money that you've got in your pockets?
They will have less money.
You have less money to spend. What does that mean you're going to do?
We'll move to another country.
You're going to be very competitive in terms of where you look, trying to get the best value for money. And so that means you might switch from Tesco's, which again could affect Tesco's profits, the social economic type. What about technology? How has technology impacted upon Tesco's?
Now they are using online sale.
So they've got self-service machines,
Online sale.
online sales. Yeah, so self-service machines, online sales. Just looking at the turn I've got on there. Okay, so
reduce labor cost.
okay, so in a way that's a good thing, isn't it? Technology is changing. We know that Tesco's was the first company to bring in the Tesco's Club Card. We know that Tesco's was the first company to bring in the Tesco's self-service. We know that Tesco's was the first company to start the Tesco's online delivery for food to consumers' homes. So we know these things. So this has had an impact on the bottom line because it's making more people come in. things faster, more people can shop. We know that people can now get goods and deliver to them, to their homes, which is good, increasing the profits there. So this has had a positive effect on Tesco's. Even internally, the business, technology has impacted upon RFID information systems that Tesco's is using to help make them become more efficient and therefore reduce their prices. What about environmental factors?
Changing on plastic
But
bags.
the plastic
Yes,
bags.
yes. So plastic bags is obviously environmental, but also the corporate social responsibility and the ethical considerations in terms of the environmental impact, CO2 emissions, helping the community. We know that the Tesco's in Streatham, when they built their Tesco's, they also built an ice rink.
No, what?
They also built an ice rink, ice skating.
Ice
They
cream.
also built a swimming pool.
Mhm.
They also built affordable housing for people to live in there. They also built and restructured a new bus depot.
Yeah, the
They did all these things. Why? Because they wanted, obviously, to help the community, but also they wanted to get planning permission to build it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the council wouldn't have given them planning permission
Because
to build
they
it.
said that.
So we can see that with CSR, corporate social responsibility, and ethical considerations, you know, companies like Tesco's, it's having an impact because they're going to have to invest more, think more about the community and what they're doing, and even where they're buying from. Where they're buying from their goods and services. Are they buying from China or India that are getting children to work in the workhouses to make these goods?
No.
Again, no. Because you have to look at where you're buying, who your suppliers are, and make sure that your suppliers are vetted. Otherwise, you could turn around and have negative publicity. So it's affecting Tesco's in terms of their buying team, how they buy, and what they do. Okay? So that's one framework. So you have to use this and then talk about this in relation to a company. So that's one framework. Another framework is the growth share matrix. So on these slides here, you've got the growth share matrix. You know, in terms of increasing risk, do you have, you know, market expansion of existing products into existing market, or do you have, you know, market penetration? So what do you have? So let's just have a look at the growth share matrix. Let's understand this first. So in the growth share matrix, look this way, do you have existing products in existing markets, or existing products into new markets, or new products into existing markets, or new products into new markets?
Like how is Jackstore now?
Yes, exactly. So let's apply this to Tesco's now. So if we're using the growth share matrix, let's try and apply it to Tesco's. So we can see that existing products is into existing markets, market penetration strategies. So has Tesco's adopted market penetration strategies?
Yes.
Yes, how?
They try to
They try
to
to-
set up in
They
America.
bought buttons.
Yes, but we'll take a step backwards. How many types of stores do they have?
Oh,
Okay.
3, 4, 5.
Yes, so they've got Tesco's Extra, Tesco's Metro,
Express.
Tesco's Express, Tesco's Superstore, and Tesco's Online.
Yeah,
and
5.
So you've got these different Tesco stores for market penetration to target different types of customers who are buying.
Try all of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, you've got Tesco's on the high streets selling to business people and people working. If you go down the road, you see everyone buying, catered, and their product range is catered towards people having lunch. If we see the superstores catered for families buying for 1 month, if we see the express stores catering for people who are out of something, just want to come and get 1 or 2 items.
For 10 minutes.
In the petrol station.
In the petrol stations, yes.
Yeah.
And then, quite rightly, you said that Tesco's also have bought Booker's because in 2015 they made a pre-tax loss of 6.4 billion. So what they had to do was look at ways to turn things around. So they bought Booker's. That allowed them to have access to over 30,000 independent retail stores selling Booker's products, but now selling Tesco's products. Okay, and with Booker's, they also had the brands of Budgeons and Londis that came with it as well. So they're also selling into those independent franchise stores as well, yes.
Okay, when you talk about markets, are we looking at the target audience? Are we looking at, you know, like different markets like a
Existing products into existing markets.
So that's the UK.
It's just the UK. Existing products, market penetration. How can we
Okay.
dig deeper into the UK? One is to target independent retail stores in the UK. 2 is to open up different types of stores to target different types of people buying in the UK. You see how you've segmented your marketplace in terms of buyer behavior, in terms of segmentation, in terms of geographical location. Yeah? Okay. What about existing products into new markets? So where did Tesco's try and America, thanks. They went into America and they invested all this money into America. They came up against Walmart, and what happened?
They lost.
They lost. They could not compete. People didn't know Tesco's. They couldn't establish themselves, and they pulled out, losing
2 billion.
2 billion. Well done,
Yeah,
Amy.
and the competition
Was
uh,
Walmart.
yeah.
So Walmart was too strong for them. They couldn't compete in America. They weren't making any profits. Okay. And what about new products into existing markets? What have Tesco's done about new products into existing markets?
Home insurance.
Home insurance,
Electric goods.
electrical goods,
Banking,
petrol,
banking,
banking,
Assurance.
car mobiles,
All the services.
phones,
different types
Yes.
for different customers.
clothing, a range of clothing as well. And so, you know, Tesco's have now, you know, brought out new products, new product ranges into existing markets.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about new products into new